So yesterday I was milling along on that log and I noticed this drop out on the sawdust. And my first thought was, well, that's not good because snapping off a bolt, there's probably a reason for it. So tearing the saw down this morning to look for where it came from and why. And so the cylinder bolt right here in this corner is missing the head, so that would be it. So that's not good. So now I got to tear the saw down, hope I can get the bottom end of that out, which it broke off high up in the cylinder flange. So I should be able to get it out, but only one way to find out. So I figured I'd just bring you guys along while I tear this down and go to repairing that. But I don't know about these Farmertec saws. I've got the Neotech 8105, which is an 070 clone, and I milled a few slabs with that. It did okay, but it was never quite right. Just didn't run like a good saw, like a Stihl, I get the job done, and I started playing with porting the cylinder. Seemed like the more I did, the worse it ran. And it wasn't acting like it was what I was doing to it, and pretty soon it wouldn't hardly run at all. And then I started chasing ignition problems, and I suspect that's what it was all along. But finally gave up, took it to the saw shop. I was getting so pissed that I just needed somebody else to work on it, and fresh set of eyes to look it over, Turns out it was the spark plug wire right here at the boot was fried up in here, and it was enough to where it actually been arcing and melted the wire. And so they fixed that, put a Stihl spark plug wire on it, and ran pretty good after that. Pulled hard, had the carb set about right, and it'd clean up in about a 30-inch piece of wood, and pull hard. But yesterday I put it in the big pine log, and it's a 21-foot log, and I got about 16 feet cut, and it just died like you hit the kill switch. And so I don't know if it was I don't know what's going on. Died like the ignition quit. So I was doing a little preliminary. It had spark. I don't know if it was getting fuel. The spark plug was dry, but it was also really hot from running wide open. I squirted a little bit in the cylinder, and then of course it was flooded. So it did pop once and sputtered a few times, like it was wanting to run, but it was rich, but it never took off, and I couldn't get it to do it again. So I don't know what's going on. I'm getting really frustrated. And then this 88 880, it is running really good, which kind of concerns me because my luck is something runs the best right before it blows up. But anyway, oh shoot, we are missing 2 cylinder bolts. There's another one broke off. Wow. Okay. So that's 2. But anyway, getting a little frustrated with these. I know they're a lot cheaper, and it's kind of the experiment, just run a few of these, do what I do, see how they hold up. If they don't, I'll go back to running, name brand, mostly Stihl, and go from there. Kind of fun to play with these a little bit cheaper saws though, but frustrating at the same time if they're going to keep breaking down, so we'll see. But hey, this will give us a chance to look at the piston. I've run it, I don't know, 2.5 full passes yesterday or something, so that's right around 50 feet of cut. That's 30 inches or bigger, so give us a chance to see how the piston is wearing. don't know if you can see that. It's a little bit lopsided wash pattern on that, but so I left the cylinder stock on this just to kind of see what we were working with. And I don't remember what the squish was, but it's fairly large. And the base gasket, I used the cheaper looking of the two base gaskets that came with it. So this is kind of a neoprene lined aluminum gasket or something like that. It's kind of a joke, but, and it's thicker too. I forget what it is, but there's the base gasket. It doesn't look like it was blown out. It's hard to say. The saw was running pretty good, so I continued. I finished the cut where I noticed that one, and I may have even made one more cut with it, but it didn't seem to affect it any. So having this gasket in there, which is probably a little bit more spongy than a paper gasket, I think kept the cylinder sealed, it seems like. But I don't know. There is fuel all over the side of this. It seems like it could be raw fuel out of the bottom end, so could have just been leaking overnight too. I don't know. We'll see. Dripping out the vent, but anyway, hopefully I can get these two studs, broke off bolts out of here that are now studs, and go to the saw shop and buy some genuine Stihl cylinder bolts. But I've also got a Farmertec 660 kit sitting here that I'm gonna do the same. I'll get cylinder bolts for that too while I'm at the saw shop, because having this happen, I don't want to do it again. And that 660, I want to put a big bore kit in it and high compression and port it and all that, so it's gonna be a lot more load on the cylinder. So I'm hoping that this will just twist right out, and it doesn't look like it's gonna. Nope. Try the other one. Nope. Okay, probably gonna have to tear the entire saw down then. Pull the piston off. Pull the back half off where I can get to it. And I kind of got to do it in a hurry because I got the log cut. I can't let it sit out there in the sun or it'll start to dry out unevenly and check and warp and the whole thing, you know. And so I need to get this sorted out and get back to cutting on it and get it done. So you guys have seen saws torn down, so I'm going to pause you here and then I'll get it torn down to the bottom end and bring you back. All right, we're back. Got the top end off, back off. Gave these a little tap with a punch and they're coming out. So that is really, really good news. I was afraid I was going to have to split the case and go after them the hard way. It's typically my luck. But there you can see. Got the whole thing out. I kind of questioned these bolt holes in the first place. They seemed like they weren't quite deep enough. Brand new. The bolts felt like they were bottoming out just a touch, so I don't know what's going on there. I have to get some Stihl bolts, put those in there. Might have to shorten them up a touch or something, and we'll see. I'd like to actually keep this saw. Bought it to mill those logs. The plans on selling it, but I kind of like to keep it if I can make a decent, reliable saw out of it. But So there's that. So I got to run to the saw shop, but while we got it apart, I'll see if I can give you guys a peek at the cylinder. Of course, I don't know where my flashlight went, but anyway, you can see we're starting to get just a little bit of shiny spot on the piston here. So I don't know if that's from the cylinder distorting with the bolts being broke off or what, but the intake side looks pretty good. It's just that one little corner right there, and then on the other side too, just that one little corner. But the cylinder actually looks pretty good too. It's starting to get some glazing in it right here, and definitely right there, a little shiny spot right there. So well, I got the jug off. I'm going to drill some lubrication holes in the piston so that those spots right there get a little more lube. And I probably won't do it today, but the transfers could definitely use some cleanup. But the unlimited coil that I put on this thing before I started milling, man, that makes a difference. So anxious to see what decking the cylinder, tightening up the squish, cleaning up the ports, and maybe changing the port timing will do. But doing all that, I don't know if I'll do some milling with it after that, but we'll see. Everybody says turning a saw up, they make more heat, and you don't want to mill with a saw that makes more heat or that much heat, but only one way to find out. I haven't seen anybody put it to the test on YouTube, so that might be the one. We'll see. But changing all the port timing and all that with the unlimited coil should make a monster out of this thing. And if we blow it up, who cares? If I got a few more slabs out of it, it's paid for itself, and after that we can just play with it. So I'll bring you guys back when I get cylinder bolts and start putting it back together and milling again.